Hello, my name is Faith Grusbeck. I'm a birth and postpartum doula and childbirth educator in Muskegon. The interview that you're about to see was one that I recently conducted with Laurel Bronald. She's a perinatal nurse educator at North Ottawa Community Hospital and the current chair of the Lakeshore Perinatal Mood Disorder Coalition. The interview was conducted on August 10th of this year, 2015. I decided to do this video because so many women struggle with perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, but yet they have fear about going to a group. So when I think about going to the group, I'm not afraid because I've known one of the facilitators for many years. So I thought, well, maybe if I give people an opportunity to get to know her, they might also feel more at ease. There are also support groups at Zeeland Hospital and at Hackley Community Care in Muskegon Heights. The Lakeshore Perinatal Mood Disorder Coalition was originally founded in 2007 by Mercy Health Hackley. At that time, there were many coalition members, but after the hospital was able to put together their internal program, the coalition ended. But a lot of the members felt that there was unfinished work. As Laura talks about in the video, a coalition has a wider goal than just an individual institution's policies. The goal is to work together with different agencies and different community members to have more of an impact in the community. So it was started again some years later by Pine Rest, and then after that, Laura at Noach took it over as the chair. So I hope you enjoy this interview. Thank you. I'm here with Laura Ronald. She's a registered nurse at North Ottawa Community Hospital. She has many roles, but I came here today to talk to Laura about her role with the Lakeshore Perinatal Mood Disorder Coalition. So do you want to tell me about the coalition?
Sure. It's the coalition was first developed about 4 years ago now. So Megan Zambiasi from Pine Rest came to me, and we started a postpartum support group. And shortly after that, we wanted to get all the community members on board so we could really provide, as much education and support to the community as possible and to our pregnant and postpartum women and their families. So we reached out to all of the members in the community that work with pregnant and postpartum moms, and our mission really is just to promote the emotional health and well-being of pregnant and postpartum women and their families through support, education, advocacy, connection, with resources. So we just gradually pulled more and more people, into the coalition, and it's just been wonderful, what we've seen and what we've been able to do through all of those things with our community partners.
That's really inspiring. Do you have a personal story that got you involved, or, is there some connection that you have to the work?
Megan, I give her a lot of credit. She's the clinic manager at Pine Rest at the time, and she once told me a story. She said one of the OB physicians came to me because their office was across the hall from the OB physician's office, and actually the mom, it was after she delivered, and she had gone to the pediatrician's office, and so the pediatrician's office is paired right together, and so it was the pediatrician actually that went to her office and said, "Megan, can you help me with this patient? She's leaking everywhere. Her eyes are leaking, her breasts are leaking," and so that's kind of what got Megan very interested in meeting with our pregnant and postpartum moms. So she kind of relayed a lot of her stories to me, and once I started learning about how prevalent perinatal mood disorders was, and really I learned so much from a lot of the moms that I met through the support group, and then I started going to conferences, and then I started thinking, my gosh, I'm an OB nurse, and do I even ask some of the questions that I need to be asking? And the answer was no, because I was scared that I didn't know what to do with the answers.
Okay.
So so when that just kind of clicked with me that we need to have, you know, a list, a compilation, you know, specific education that we provide these moms so they know where to turn if they do need the help. And so when that realization kind of hit me that we are such a good, you know, family birthing unit, but yet we need to pull some things together to fully, you know, make sure that these moms are not only physically well, but emotionally well. And I just get all worked up even talking about it because it's, I mean, emotional health is so important, you know, in the progression forward with motherhood. I mean, if you feel guilty, if you feel like you're a bad mom, I mean, that just sits with you forever and ever, it seems like, and it feels like it never goes away, you know, if you can't talk to somebody, you know, and that's really what happens is that guilt and shame are some of the two biggest things that moms feel if they are not educated on perinatal mood disorders, because they think, oh my gosh, I have this beautiful baby, I'm educated, you know, have a lot of support around me, why should I possibly be feeling like I don't know what to do next? You know, and I'm, you know, and so when you feel that way and you're expected, all these expectations are way up here, and you're feeling like you can't even get out of bed in the morning, let alone, you know, do the things that you feel you need to do for your mom, it makes it doubly hard, you know, to say to somebody, I'm struggling. And that's where I just...
So, yeah, since doing this work, it sounds like it was really... It sounds like it was your passion to be the best nurse that you could be and to continue your education that got you involved in it, you know, just wanting to do a good job and help people. But then since then, you've had a lot of experience working with moms, and now you see the difference that it makes.
Absolutely. And when you start talking about it, it helps others start talking about it. And so I can't tell you how many coworkers even have come to me and said, Laura, you know, my sister, this is what happened, you know, and then, you know, we can help with education there. So it's not just North Ottawa. I mean, you know, and that brings us back to the coalition. You know, when you involve, you know, WIC, when you involve maternal infant health program, which they're going into, you know, the homes after delivery. When you involve doulas, when, you know, that are caring for moms postpartum, when you involve Lakeshore Pregnancy Center Positive Options, where they're continuing with parenting classes, the pediatrician offices, you know, I can go on, you know, but when you involve everybody, you know, it really, they're hearing, you know, I get calls all the time like this, like a message will be left and it'll say, Laura, the third person told me I should call you, so that's what I'm doing. Click, you know. I mean, so that's what it takes. The stigma, as we all know, is what really got me too when I started diving into this. It's just like, why haven't we been talking about this? Why haven't, you know, and that stigma is always there with mental illness, I think. And so, you know, I think the coalition has done a great job of continuing to, you know, stop that stigma with education and advocacy and support and providing moms with the connections that they need to get better faster. And that's it. PMD is treatable.
Yes.
It's treatable.
That's the good news.
But you have to make the step, you know, to get the help that you need. And that's what so many moms...
Yeah, well, that kind of brings me into my next question. The research shows that when people do engage in treatment, any kind of treatment, support groups, right, there's good evidence for that, individual therapy and medication are all very effective in treating perinatal mood disorders.
Absolutely.
What do you think is the reason why so many women choose not to seek treatment?
You know, I think it's back to that guilt and shame. You know, they feel that, you know, and it doesn't have to be a first-time mom that this happens to, just so everyone knows. This can happen whether you have your first baby or your fourth baby, and it never happened with the first three, you know, so it's across the board. You never know if you are going to experience elevated symptoms. So many moms, think that they should be able to power through this, especially first time moms I see where they think this is just what parenting is about. I'm supposed to feel overwhelmed. I'm supposed to feel totally exhausted. I guess you forget to eat, occasionally, and then it ends up being, oh my gosh, 6 o'clock at night, did I eat yet? And to feel like I don't want to go out of the house because I just need to take care of my baby. Where some of those things are those are flags. Mm-hmm. Those are flags that, I just mentioned a few there, but, basically, they don't, I feel like moms just don't feel that, they feel like this is just how it is, and then they'll get through it.
And so kind of what you're saying to me is the symptom, one of the symptoms is extreme guilt and shame, and that plays into women not getting treatment, that makes it worse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And research shows the sooner you get help, the faster your recovery will be.
So let's talk a little bit about the research, because I work with a lot of moms that are very naturally minded. A lot of them don't want to put chemicals into their body. They're very health conscious people. So what would you say about somebody who was looking for help, but they were looking to avoid pharmaceuticals? What would you say to them?
And I am always so, proactive with moms to do the basics first.
Mm-hmm.
To
Always
check,
check, okay.
Are you eating?
Mm-hmm.
Any of us, if we don't eat well, we're going to feel faint. We're
Yeah.
going to feel dizzy, fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? Our irritability increases.
Okay.
We can't tolerate things as well, including a crying baby.
Yeah.
That is hard work.
Right.
So, I always start with those things. Are you sleeping? Are you laying there even when you're able to sleep, but your mind is racing? Your baby's sound asleep, you have this chance, but you can't even sleep. So we kind of go through the basics first to get help with that. Okay, so support person, what is your role here? Do you have a support person? Can the support person stay up with the baby and mom get earplugs so she can actually maybe calm herself, get a fan in the room, so she could get, because that nighttime sleep is essential. Again, me in a non-pregnant state, I'm irritable when I don't get sleep at night.
Right.
So starting with those basic things, and then moving into exercise, even when it's so hard to think of walking to the mailbox.
Right.
If you make yourself take 15 minutes a day to get out, get some fresh air, walk, it's not a cure-all, but it is something for yourself. And self-care is so essential, and that's the one thing that I see moms totally put on the back burner when they have the baby, because it's all about the baby. All about the baby. And even when you're struggling, a lot of times you're just too much focus on the baby and not self-care.
That's important to remember.
In this, in educating, to educate them, number one, this is the hardest job you will ever have. There is no other job where you work 24 hours a day, don't have a lunch break, let alone 8 hours to sleep and do what you want, after you leave. This is constant. I would expect you to feel overwhelmed. I would expect you to feel like you need a break and need to do something for yourself. So those basic core things I really focus with. In a support group, I lead a support group. It's free, twice a month, the second and fourth Thursday of every month. So that is a platform where you can come get confidential. We don't offer advice. It's just
being with other moms.
Support to be with another mom, sometimes to just sit next to another mom. I have, first timers that come and they just sit there and listen, which I encourage some moms to do that. And then they hear, some things come out, from other moms, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's like me. That's just what I'm going through. I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. So many moms think they're crazy for feeling the way that they do. And so to just be in a support group can be very good therapy, for moms.
What does the research say about support groups? Are they effective in helping moms feel better?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That can be, one of the core things. Therapy is wonderful, individual therapy, too, but if you can't, I know we run into barriers. You don't have the accessibility to get there. You don't have the insurance to pay for it. You know, there's a lot of excuses and a lot of legitimate, you know, scenarios.
Sure.
But for a support group to have someone there, you know, to talk to educate, it does show that that definitely can be beneficial.
Great.
It's not a cure-all,
Right.
but you know, like any other, you know, emotional challenge that you have, we tend to sometimes with those things just push them away, but they get stronger. And that's the same thing with perinatal mood disorders. The symptoms get stronger if you don't deal with them. And so by coming to group, maybe you don't talk a lot the first time, or maybe not a lot at all, but you're gathering information, you're being educated, you're understanding that I'm not alone and this is something that's treatable and I'm doing something for myself, you know, by being here. So
I guess that kind of answers my last questions. What would you say to someone who was considering group? You know, somebody who's kind of on the fence and they need to maybe make, you know, just that final step, get in the door. What would you say to somebody who's struggling with that decision?
yeah. And I am here to talk with people anytime, and that's just not moms. I mean, I have dads call me sometimes. I have grandmas call me, you know. So I think that is a good first step because I'm there. I'm one of the co-leaders, and you know, so if they can kind of get to know me, even if it's through the phone, you know, it's somebody they're familiar with. I can help them with some of the, you know, I guess, fears that they have about group, you know, and just talk through those with them, you know, encourage them. I mean, I don't care if you're late, I don't care if you're showered, I don't care if you have to leave early, if you have to breastfeed breastfeed your baby during, and that's the thing, everyone's welcome. Sometimes mom just knowing that their partner can come with them, or their mom can come with them, or baby can come with them. And this is for prenatal, during the prenatal period too, moms can come when they're pregnant. So it's not, we call it postpartum adjustment group, but it's for anyone pregnant or postpartum. So, but again, getting back to, you know, their hesitations in group, and some people just say, oh, I'm not a group person, you know, which I get that all the time, you know, and it's, again, it's very quaint. It's nothing overwhelming. I mean, average, we have 3 to 7 moms, and some bring their babies, some bring a support person, so it just kind of varies the total number. But again, it's not, you know, something that's intimidating. We never judge, we don't give advice, and we encourage you to share whatever you feel comfortable with, but you can just sit there, and believe me, every single other mom in there has just sat there sometimes, you know, so nobody's judged, they're offered support, and we give, you know, other connections when you're there. And if anything, I kind of, you know, go through a little education piece, and they get a little education out of it too, you know, and start to realize that there's hope, you know, and we congratulate them for taking the step, for coming. I mean, that's the biggest step right there, is just to ask for help and to come join a group like that. So believe me, I think every mom that has come, you know, has been happy that they made it.
Nobody ever leaves being like,
no, I've never had a mom. I mean, maybe they would have talked about me after when they left, but you know, and actually a lot of the moms kind of got together. 2 of them spearheaded a Facebook page even. So they developed that on their own. You know, I call them warrior moms because they've been through a couple babies now, and they just know that this works, you know, support works.
How can someone connect with the Facebook page?
The Facebook page is North Ottawa Perinatal and Postpartum Adjustment Support.
Okay.
So it's a long spiel there, but I'll let you put that on.
Thanks.
So, but it is a closed group, so it's a great platform to start on also before joining group if they want to. So some moms connect and get it accepted, so then nobody else knows that you're in the group. And you get, again, unconditional support. A couple of the warrior moms are ones that, or actually there's a lot of them that now that respond, you know, to each mom, and you know, you can, again, just get that unconditional support that way and understanding before you maybe take that step to come to group. So
That's great.
yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to
Yes,
talk. Is there anything
absolutely.
else that you want to add to it?
Oh, I just I just am so happy to raise awareness, with perinatal mood disorders, because that's just it. I think the more that we talk about it and get it out there, 1 in 7 moms experiences elevated symptoms in depression and or anxiety during pregnancy and all the way up to a year postpartum. So the more that we can, educate and help moms understand that they're not alone and that there's help and they will be better, the better. So
I agree.
yeah. So
Thank you so much.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.